We're looking at practice clips from minicamps and OTAs, and today we're doing another quarterback battle. Shedeur Sanders versus Jalen Milroe, the battle of the backup quarterbacks right now. Who would you rather have on your team for fantasy long term? Whatever it is, whatever your spice is, let me know in the comments below. We're going to look at their clips from minicamp and OTAs, talk ball. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now, because we're looking at practice and training camps right around the corner. We're going to be looking at your favorite team, your rookies, guys you're getting ready to draft in fantasy football. Click that button. Stop missing out. We're looking at Shedeur versus Jalen Milroe, and we got about 15 minutes of clips here. I imagine I'm going to have some interesting things to say during this that's going to be all over the place, but I'm excited because I should have did this video a lot sooner. Both these quarterbacks, out of all of them, I know because of my channel numbers, get the most hype. Both these two quarterbacks get the most hype. Shedeur has a good arm on him. He's accurate downfield. During his collegiate career, he showcased more accuracy between the two. I'll definitely say that. He's pretty around the red zone, around the sideline. Definitely would say that. He's in a quarterback battle right now, where Milroe's not really in a quarterback battle. He's in a developmental growth stage, and they're allowing him to come along. He's in a battle right now, and he's got Pickett, Flacco there. They're trying to figure it out. The Browns are. It looks like Flacco is going to be that trusted veteran. That's probably get leaned on, and then after that, really depends on what happens in season. But Shedeur's been stacking days. He's been stacking days. He has around an 80% completion rate, and that's different from site to site. But like I've been saying, like, I have all the clips, and I believe it. I believe it. If there were bad clips out there, it'd be shown, because that would get your clicks. That would get whatever money that would come your way. I don't know. Twitter does not pay that well. But Shedeur Sanders has been looking good. He's got run with the 3s, 4s, a little bit of 2s. Whatever's been thrown at him, he's been looking good. We'll see with a pass rush. That would be the next step up. Every point of the offseason is just a leveling up period of what you're seeing. You'll see a pass rush in training camp. And you'll get joint practices where things get really heated. Things get heated up more in practices when guys realize that they're not going to have a job in 2 weeks and they got to try and make the team. And things get real fired up there and feisty. And the windows are tighter. There's actually windows in a lot of these moments. Where some of these you do get 11 on 11, 7 on 7. But that's what we're seeing with these two quarterbacks, how things are going to ramp up during that time period. Both of them. Both quarterbacks, there's a real possibility they don't start this year. Going over to Jalen Milroe, he has athletic upside only compared to the most athletic quarterbacks we've seen. He can take off and run with it. He's got speed to burn. He's got a cannon. He can be accurate, but he's not consistent with it. And we made memes and jokes about it at the Senior Bowl in his warm-ups because he was off on every throw. He was off on every throw in the warm-ups. And I had to do the video making fun of it because that's what we do too in the channel. We make fun of players. But all in all, I think this is the perfect situation for him, at least for right now, because they're going to allow him to develop. They're going to allow him to learn the system. We could see him out there somewhere down the line this season. We could definitely see him out there somewhere down the line this season. If something happens at the quarterback position, if something happens to this team, it could be at the end of the season. It could be somewhere down the line next season. This could be a multi-year process. That could be. But with our clips here, we're not getting many looks like we are with the Browns. 11 on 11, 7 on 7, where things are tight. We're going to get more of that in training camp. All in all, we're not hearing any bad news, but they're really just trying to get the gears greased up for Milroe, too. This is a learning experience for him. They're here to develop him, and he has immense upside. Immense upside. Like, his upside is maybe not just like a top quarterback, because that could happen, because all he has to do is patch up some things. But like one of the biggest stars in the league. Shedeur Sanders has the same thing. Upside's upside, though. Upside you're gambling on. The downside, the more upside, the more downside usually. Because The higher you are to your potential, the less upside you got because you're already there. And the lower you are, but the talent's there, the more upside you got. But you still got to carve out that role, carve out more development and everything else. Shedeur's developing well. He's looking like a veteran out there, poised between plays. He's got to win the job. But he's been stacking days. You got to give him that. He's been stacking days. He's been looking good from practice to practice. You got to give him that. Like, there's a lot of people that come here to love on Sanders and to hate on Sanders. I know it. There's a lot of people who come from both ends. You got to give him his flowers for this. He's been going wire to wire here in practice. Now, you may have him as the QB1 of this year's draft, 2, 6, whatever. It's a weaker quarterback class. I think he fell too far in the draft. I believe that. And I believe he's better than Kenny Pickett for sure. For sure. I think having a developmental growth period for him, like for any young quarterback, would be great. Or just have him thrusted out there to learn. But Flacco, I believe the coaching staff's going to lean on him. I believe they're going to trust him. And we know with Jalen Milroe, he ain't starting this year unless something happens. Jalen Milroe. And it's a big if because you don't know if it's going to materialize from what we saw at Alabama and from some of the other clips we've seen. But if he patches things up, if he develops, because he's getting that opportunity, and you don't know, they might have the right coaching staff, the right developmental process to get him ready. Fantasy football-wise, he could just be so quarterback play. And that mobility is going to get you that rushing floor. That's the thing about Milroe. Like, fantasy-wise, he could throw like 2 picks a game, complete 55 to 60% of his passes. Maybe not be a starter for long in this scenario, but still be one of the most productive quarterbacks in the league in fantasy football. That's the thing about that. Now, if he starts hitting to his upside, and say you get another Hall of Famer out of the 3rd round, you're looking at a quarterback here that's nuclear. That's nuclear in all facets. That's the thing. He's got a lot of upside. I think both quarterbacks have a lot of upside. I really do. I think both of them have a lot of upside. Upside's huge, too. Because if you don't have upside, it's really hard to be a top quarterback. Because it's a tough league. Everybody's up there hitting their upside, or most players that you're going up against. Because that's what it takes to get on the field almost. Maybe hyperbole saying that, but it's almost true. There we go. Deep ball. He's got a strong arm. He's got a cannon. Both players, from the accounts I've read, they're waking up early, getting to the facilities early. They're working out hard behind the scenes. Jalen Milroe, he's got all the tools physically. Physically, he's got all the tools. Shedeur Sanders is more mobile than advertised. That's the thing about that. Go look at his FCS highlights. Go look at that. He's more mobile than advertised. And the reason why I say that is I was in pre-draft, looking at pre-draft content, seeing what other people think. They made him sound like he was Drew Bledsoe back there. He can move a little bit. He just ain't Michael Vick. But he can get the ball out there. He's got a fast release. He's accurate downfield. I think tape-wise, a little bit drifty in the pocket. That was my main claim in the tape as the negative that he needed to work on. And that was the opportunity that was mentioned in some of the other high-level tape watchers. Which makes sense. You saw that. But you can also say his offensive line, this, that. So let's see what happens when we get to training camp. That continues. Let's see. But we're working out hard. He's working out with Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's mentoring him. Joe Flacco's being a teacher to him. That's all good things to see. I'm excited about this quarterback battle. We're going to have tabs on this all summer long. I like Jalen Milroe because I did not like him that much as a prospect quarterback-wise, but I also I have a feel in my heart for these quarterbacks, all those players that kind of slip through the cracks where you can see where if this, and this happens, they could be a dog. And Jalen Milroe is one of those guys. So I kind of got a place in my heart for him where I'm rooting for him to develop because I root for guys on the back of depth charts That's kind of why people come here to watch the training camp, minicamp OTA footage, because I get very excited about those third stringers, fourth stringers, rookies, guy coming back from injury. I get excited about the storylines. Like, I'm excited about this Brown storyline. I'm excited about Jalen Milroe. I'm excited about some of these late round running backs and seeing how they climb the depth chart. I'm excited about a lot of these players. And watching this quarterback battle here in Cleveland's fascinating because there's a lot of options they can go with. They got firepower for next year's draft to get a quarterback. They got their young quarterbacks, Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. I look at Dillon Gabriel as more of an upside backup quarterback, a developmental backup that's going to be in the league for forever. Like, he's a good pick. I think Shedeur Sanders has upside as a starter. Also, he's a rookie. Also, I think he needs some time to develop. I think he needs some time just being the guy, working with the ones for you to get more out of him. And you might see that in training camp. That's what you need to pay attention to in training camp when he's working with the ones. Jalen Milroe is probably not going to be working with the ones until next year or thrusted into a situation where he has to this year. He's a developmental quarterback. Like, they see the upside like I see the upside. And they're like, we got to get this rolling. We got to figure this out for this kid. We got to help this kid so he can help us. And that's what they're doing. And he's a quarterback that give him some time. Give him some time. Allow him to develop. Be patient with him, Seattle fans. Give him some time. Now, if you wondered, let's say both quarterbacks are starting in 2026. Which one you would rather have? Jalen Milroe, if he's starting, his mobility is going to give you the best floor. Like, say both quarterbacks are playing bad, at mobility is just going to get you a good floor, and he could give you top quarterback results in fantasy. That's how I look at it. Like, if we're getting the rookie blues, or the young quarterback blues is what I call it, young rookie blues for all position, where the player's developing and you're in the ramp-up period, that mobility, those couple runs a game, is going to give you a decent floor. That's the thing about that. That's the beauty about Jalen Milroe. So if you're in traditional redraft, if you're in Superflex Dynasty, I'd be looking at him pretty hard. Especially when you get into the second round. The running backs are really tearing off to day 3 picks. The wide receivers, you got some guys there, but it's not a strong wide receiver class to where you could make that pivot. There's some guys I kind of like, but super flex value, and if it's hard to trade for quarterbacks in your league, quarterbacks being held over a barrel, then you may want to make that move. I think Jalen Milroe is a hell of a value considering that, but also you have to be in the roster construction where you can make that hold for a bit, and you can't be reacting off FOMO. His stock, both these quarterback stocks, are going to go nuclear in fantasy and actually like real life, jersey-wise, whatever it is, when they see the field. Compared to the other quarterbacks. Compared to Cam Ward even. Like, both these quarterbacks, when they see the field, the media, everything else, fantasy, they're going to see a big rise in their stock. I get more views off Jalen Milroe than I do Cam Ward. I get more views off Jalen Milroe than I do on Jackson Dart. Same with Shedeur for sure. That's an easy one to call. I can actually get like a full set of clips out of him out of a practice. But Jalen Milroe is next. If I had to rank them in view count range, if you're using that for a dial, which it's actually kind of an accurate dial, especially for guys flying under the radar that I noticed that could rise in stock, Shedeur, then it's Jalen Milroe, then Cam Ward, of course, Shuck Dart. Or actually, due to it being ambiguous, more like Ward, Shuck, but Rattler's mixed in there, and Rattler fans come in there too to look it up, so it may not be entirely Shuck, and then Dart. Even with the New York media coverage, Malik Neighbors, but if you're looking at view count, and part of that's the situation with the Saints where Shuck could be the starter right now, which intrigue is going to do that. And Dart's in a similar situation as Milroe, as he's being brought up as a backup to develop, where Shedeur's being brought up to compete for a job. Like, they're not bringing him up to develop. They're trying to develop him on the fly, but they have bullets in the chamber for a 2026 quarterback. They've made that known. Not publicly, but they made that known. They did. Daniel Jeremiah said that right off the rip. When they did not go quarterback with their first-round pick, they made that trade. They were collecting picks. He said that right off the rip. Even though when you're looking at that, it's common sense. He said that right off the rip. Like, that's been stated. Like, he knew with confidence. Like, it was a fact. Not just seeing the tea leaves and be like, oh, that's what's like it was a fact. But when I look at these two quarterbacks, Shedeur's thrusted into a quarterback battle where Jalen Milroe's not. I don't look at these guys as one for one. They're getting different opportunities. I think Jalen Milroe's got a lot of room for development when it comes to as a passer, but his tools are immense. Shedeur Sanders has to win, has to continue to do well in practice, has to surpass the politics of this coaching staff too. That's something to say. Flacco's probably going to win the job unless Flacco flacids out, because that's what Apple says when you try to write his name, it tries to correct it. But he does do that at times, but he also looks like a very good quarterback at other times. So if you're getting good Flacco, then he probably ain't seeing the field till bad Flacco comes out. But good talent throwing the ball downfield with accuracy. Just some things need buttoned up. Pocket awareness, drifting in the pocket. But again, training camp's going to be here. We're going to see the bullets fire. Let me know what you think. Comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.